Governor's Bay Jetty Restoration Trust.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and councillors. Excuse my voice. If I fail to speak at the end of it, I've got able to take up from my support people here, my trustees, Louisa Eads, Phil Jackson and Nick Duggan. They could do a far better job than me. Also, if I shake, it's not because I'm nervous, or I am probably. It's because I've got Parkinson's, so sometimes it comes on. Just a very brief point. This is not my 10-minute allocation, but I couldn't help hearing about Tanya, the Tana. And I'd be prepared to help if set up a simple trust for them to a legal vehicle to hold income for it. But certainly there seems a simple solution there. But anyway, that's not for me to.
Well, they're a subcommittee of the community board, and that may be the issue. So okay. we'll find. But thank you for your kind offer. We accept.
Yeah. Right. Now I've given you a handout. Package. I'm sitting here with my lovely T-shirt on. That you can buy them at a significant cost. But bear with us if we do. Others indication of the type of material that we're creating. Do you mind if I read this? Because we've got 5 minutes, I want to cover it off with you, so plenty of time for questions. In 2015, Council agreed to partner with the Governor's Bay Jetty Restoration Trust. The Council committed $535,000 towards the rebuild on the understanding that once the Trust had demonstrated its ability to complete the rebuild, Council would contribute a further sum that would equate to $1 for every dollar the Trust raised. The Trust is now confident of its ability to complete the job and asked Council to increase its contribution from $535 to $1.5 million, half of the funds required to rebuild the jetty. 3 years ago, when the trustees, there was 2 engineers, a surveyor, a project manager, a businessman, a technical communications expert, and a lawyer. I always love putting a plain English person next to a lawyer. Said they would do all they could to see the jetty rebuilt. They never imagined the extent of that effort and what they could achieve. Basically, it's been a time commitment every week. It's providing professional skills, design, engineering, survey, quantity surveying, marketing, and legal. We've created a book, pamphlets, website, Facebook, printing, T-shirts, and TV and print media. There have been multiple fundraising events. You'll see those in the earlier submissions, and consultation processes, including dance night at the pub, and now an art auction, Create to Construct, when 18 artists have been commissioned to paint works of the jetty. Fronting up to residents, this is a hard task, asking for financial contributions, and we've received support from $20,000 down to $10. And now we're developing a sponsor, a plank project, where in the short period of time, we've got 125 planks have been sponsored at $500 each. Our fundraising initiative is really only getting underway now because we want to get all our ducks in a row to know what we're doing, and you'll see why. Because the major difficulty the Trust has faced in raising its contribution of $1.5 million rests on 3 simple questions. 2 have now been answered. What will it cost to rebuild the jetty? After all, we remember the council said predictions were it would cost $7.8 million. That was going to be out of our reach. How much money do you need? Less than, now know the answer, less than $3 million. Has the Trust the ability, the second question, has the Trust the ability to carry out the rebuild itself? We're confident that we have the skills and processes in place. We're very confident of that. And will the council contribute its half share? The first $535,000 gave us a level of confidence that allowed us to get to the stage. Now it's a case of completing the job. So the Trust has completed a survey and developed engineering solutions sufficient to put the project out to tender. We came up with relatively novel solutions. We've had them tested by both contractors, and they've approved the process which we're recommending. We've selected 2 contractors well versed in this field. Both are very experienced in piers and jetties, and obtained detailed and cost-effective tenders for both contractors. Both offered slightly different ways ahead, but both were very competitive. The Trust is completing geotech investigations, determining the length of piles to reduce risk and finalise pricing. We could actually use a screw pile concept, which doesn't require necessarily so much information on geotech, or we could go for a straight pile concept, where we're just working out the solution there. Both, we hasten to add, we can do significantly less, we can do less than the $3 million. And we've resource consent application environment Canterbury. God, that's an awful job. The Trust is confident, and there's another story. The Trust is confident, and we will select the best contractor for the job, the best process to get the job done, and for the best price, and for a sum less than $3 million. The only question now being how far falls short of that figure. And that is, remember, a far cry from council's costing that to rebuild the jetty would cost in the order of 7.8 million and demolition a cost of 800,000. Now that 7.8 million wasn't just plucked out of the air. They showed a detailed process by which they arrived at that figure, and both in terms of materials and labour content and the impact, and we studied it deeply over that period of time, and we've come up with, we believe, a better solution, and which is supported by both contractors, as well as the actual engineer who did the original costing. The Trust has a good understanding of what funds it can raise and where they be obtained from. Once we have commitments from Council, we can proceed with applications to Lottery, RATA and other philanthropic trusts to raise in the order of $700,000, and we will continue to engage in multiple fundraising efforts, raising the profile of the project and obtaining funds in the order of $800,000 from individuals, businesses, income from events and sponsorship planks. We've raised in the order of about $160,000 in the initial as key money. In the normal course of events, if all funds were available, we could commence construction within 6 months. There are a number of options to extend that period without adversely impacting the project. We're working with the contractors to do that. If the funds already committed were released before the end of the financial year 2018-19, the remaining $965 could be contributed in equal part in the financial years following. That's 1920 and 2021. We'll deal with the complexities surrounding that, but we can cope with that. The Council's commitment makes it all possible and turns all the hard work into reality. It's a true partnership between Council and the community. While the Trust seeks parity with Council by way of monetary contribution, you should not lose sight of the efforts of the community when it delivers the reconstructed jetty. It would have contributed in value far, far more. The cost of the expertise, the time, and the undertaking of numerous events will normally run into hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know that for a fact. Finally, while the Governors Bay Jetty to Littleton, while the Governors Bay Jetty coming to Littleton and the Governors Bay community has as much the same significance as the cathedral is to central Christchurch, it is more than a local attraction. It's 20 minutes from Christchurch. It's not a commute to Christchurch. It doesn't take half an hour to 3/4 of an hour. It is a metropolitan facility where people from all over Christchurch visit, simply to stroll across the water and admire the views. It's to have weddings on it. It's a place for all seasons. And as I said when we started this project, it is a place where you go when you're happy, when to celebrate, and also when you go when you're sad, when you can reflect. This jetty is a special place. To conclude, the Trust's efforts to date have been helped by the knowledge that Council supported its efforts and recognise the importance of a partnership between the Council and community. Council gets very good value for its money. It enables the jetty to be rebuilt by a Council contribution of 20% of what it would otherwise have cost. And it gets the job done 5 to 10 years ahead of what it could have achieved. And it sets the scene, I believe, for other community groups to make their contribution. We've got able-bodied men who are retired and women who are retired in Governors Bay. And there are other projects I can well imagine, especially head-to-head walkway, where we could play a meaningful role, as well as the men's shed in Littleton and Horswell and Akaroa. So this is a community game, this is a community outcome, and we're very proud of what we've achieved today, and we want to finish the job.
Lovely, thank you. Andrew.
Thank you. Essentially, Simon, what you're asking us for is a fund match as we originally set out in our response to your submission in 2015. And you've made very clear what we need to put on budget to create the certainty that you need to have those other quality funding conversations that you've got lined up. Yep. Could that be expressed by Council as an underwrite for the project? It could be underwrite, yeah, I've thought of that. Basically, also, it could well be less than the 1.5 million. If we can build it, I mean, I can't give you the figures because they're sensitive figures with contracts. We want to respect their confidence in getting this project done. But there is a distinct possibility it could be less than $3 million. And it certainly won't be more than that, and so there could be savings there as well as. But it's the record. For example, lotteries. We know that we can only go to lotteries if we've got the backup from Council, commitment from Council. And lotteries where we fall within their criteria for $500,000. We're pretty confident. We've had initial look at their discussions, and we're confident we can raise that. And other philanthropic trusts, but it's that. An underwrite is certainly within my region of thinking as well, as long as that commitment is made so that we can go about it. We're not going to be expecting Council to give $1 more than we want or need, because we'd rather the community give it. Because at the end of the day, this is a community asset. We want to be able to say with pride that this is our jetty, that we're going to do on this jetty what we want to do. In other words, it's not going to be simply a place that people walk on. It's going to be a place that people celebrate and do things on this jetty. It's going to be a place of education, of history, of culture, and it's a place where people gather for all types of events. It's not going to be a simple jetty, and it's going to be a place of interest.
Phil?
Thank you. I'm just wondering, besides the jetty, like the environment around it is lovely too, and I guess the walking track has been there for a long time. But I'm just wondering, in fact, does the trust have an interest too, perhaps, in assisting the enhancement of that walking track, which I think goes round about Living Springs?
I think we looked at that early on, about 18 years ago. We looked at that process because spreading a shingle, that something. I mean, again. Just can I say about the head-to-head walkway, which I'm involved with as trustee, as chair of the Ronald Trust, and it's good to have a place. When you're going on a walk, you want to go somewhere. You want to go to, traditionally you go to a lighthouse or you go to a jetty or some place where you can go as part of the justification for the walk. But the point is this: is certainly we see the walkway being created, yes, supported, and Labor, and we've already suggested that to council staff that we would be prepared to get a volunteer group together to go especially from Governors Bay Jetty through to Sandy Bay and beyond, because it does require some hard work there. And we think we can do a lot cheaper. I mean, the reality is community groups are bloody good at spending dollars wisely.
Right, thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Simon.
Thanks.
We may be in touch on the other matter.
That's great.
Thank you.
Great.